Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside Thailand. Today's story comes from a guy named Tony. Blue collar, hard working, did everything right, and still got kicked in the teeth by the woman he trusted most. His wife didn't just cheat on him, she disrespected him, laughed about it, and made him feel like a nobody in his own home. But Tony didn't roll over. He didn't spiral. He packed his bag, got on a plane to Bangkok, and started over. Not to chase girls, but to find peace. And maybe, just maybe, a woman who still believes in loyalty. It's raw. It's honest. And if you've ever been made to feel like you're not enough, this one's gonna hit hard. So here's Tony's story, in his own words. Hello. I wasn't gonna send this in. I typed it out 3 times already, then deleted it. But screw it. Maybe someone out there needs to hear it. Maybe some poor bastard is sitting in his garage right now wondering what the hell happened to his life. So, yeah, 12 years. That's how long I was married. 12 damn years. I met her when I was still working on the freeway expansion project outside El Cajon. She was sweet back then. Worked front desk at a chiropractor's office. We used to go for carne asada fries after my shift. She laughed at my dumb jokes, touched my arm when I talked, made me feel like I mattered. And somewhere along the line, that just stopped. You ever have a woman look at you like you're an inconvenience? Like she's tolerating your presence? That was my Tuesday morning. That was my Sunday night. That was every damn day. She didn't yell, not at first. She just rolled her eyes more, started spending girls' weekends in Palm Springs. Didn't want to watch the same shows. Didn't want me touching her. I'm just tired, Tony. Always tired, always irritated. I kept my mouth shut, like an idiot. I thought maybe if I worked harder, if I fixed the fence, if I surprised her with sushi, she'd come back to how she used to be. I was dead wrong. She used to say stuff like, "You're so stuck in the past," or "You're not growing with me." I didn't know I needed to grow. I thought showing up every day, paying the mortgage, fixing the leaking toilet, that was love. I thought being steady counted for something. Turns out steady's just another word for boring in her book. I remember this one night. It was stupid, but it stuck with me. We were watching TV and she said, "You ever think about how much better our lives would be if we hadn't settled so young?" And then she laughed, like it was funny. I didn't laugh, but I didn't say anything either. That's the worst part. I just sat there like a loser, pretending that didn't gut me. I should have said something, should have stood up right then and asked if she meant it, but I didn't. I just took it, like I took everything else. The cold shoulder, the little digs, the "you wouldn't understand" crap when she talked about her yoga friends and her new podcast obsession. Every time I tried to be honest, she made me feel like some outdated fossil. "Not everything's about you, Tony," she'd say. "Maybe I just need space." Space? Lady, I gave you a whole damn driveway, but I didn't leave. I told myself I'd ride it out, that it was just a phase, that marriage has rough patches. 12 years, man. 12 years of biting my tongue, of walking on eggshells in my own damn house, of making excuses to my friends when they asked why she never came around anymore, of convincing myself that I was the problem. I didn't know it yet, but something in me was about to snap. So here's the turning point. Company party? You gotta understand, I don't ask for much. I show up, I put in the hours, I take care of what's mine. That night, I just wanted her to show up and not embarrass me. That's it. We were hosting this little thing at my foreman's place in Poway. Barbecue, beer, a few families. Nothing fancy. I told her a week ahead. "You don't even have to stay long, babe. Just show up, say hi, shake a few hands." She shows up late, 45 minutes late, wearing this red dress that looked like it was sprayed on. Backless. Tight. High heels she never wore around me. Hair curled. Full face of makeup. She looked incredible. I mean that. But she didn't look like my wife. She looked like a woman trying to turn heads. And not my head, either. Soon as she walks in, the guys all stop talking. My buddy Rick literally chokes on his beer. I felt this, this wave of heat. Not pride, not jealousy. Just off. Like, everyone was looking at me like, damn, what's she doing with him? She gave me a peck on the cheek, cold like a formality, and immediately wandered off to talk to the younger guys from the new crew, leaning in close, laughing too loud, touching their arms. I walked over, tried to slide my hand around her waist. She shrugged it off, didn't even look at me. Later, I pulled her aside near the grill and said, "Hey, maybe cool it a little. People are noticing." She turned, smiled, fake, tight, and said, "You don't own me, Tony. Don't start this again." That hit like a punch. "Start what?" I asked. She just sipped her wine and walked away. And that drive home? Pure silence. She just scrolled her phone, smirking at something on Instagram, window down, wind in her hair, like she was on some movie set where the sad husband didn't exist. I didn't say a word the whole ride. I kept my eyes on the road and just took it, like always. But something in me cracked that night. Not all the way, not yet, but deep down I knew. I wasn't her man anymore. I was a placeholder, a ghost with a mortgage. I wish I could say I blew up and that I demanded respect, but I didn't. Not then. That came later, and when I found the texts, when everything I'd ignored came into sharp, undeniable focus. A week after that party, I was home alone, trying to fix the damn washing machine. She was working late. Again, third time that week. Said they had a project deadline and she had to stay for a team dinner. I didn't question it. Not out loud anyway. Just nodded and grabbed another beer like some idiot side character in her story. I was in the kitchen messing with the water line when her phone lit up on the charger. That thing never left her hand, but she must have been rushing. One message popped up, and it wasn't subtle. "Can't stop thinking about last night," followed by a little red heart. Contact name, Steve. Just Steve. I froze. Not shocked, not angry, just still. Like someone hit pause. I didn't touch the phone. I didn't need to. Her iPad was synced to it. I remembered that from when we got the damn thing on a Costco run. I opened it. No passcode. Just pure, unfiltered betrayal sitting in plain sight. There were weeks of messages, hotel bookings, plans to meet after Tony falls asleep, photos even. Nothing graphic, just enough to tell the whole story without any doubt. My hands started shaking, not because I was angry, but because I felt stupid. Like all the quiet humiliation I'd been swallowing was now printed in high def, time-stamped and cheerful. She wasn't even trying to hide it. There was no guilt in her words, just jokes about me. "He still thinks I'm working late, LOL. I could have married up if I hadn't settled so young." That one got me. Settled? I built that life, every inch of it. And now I was the punchline in someone else's text thread. That night I didn't confront her. I slept on the couch, just staring at the ceiling. I wasn't crying. I was done with that. I was planning. For once, I didn't want to fix it. I wanted out. I wanted something else, anything else. And soon, I'd get it. She came home around 11 that night, same routine as always. Keys tossed on the counter, heels in one hand, phone in the other. Said something like, "Work was brutal. I'm going to crash." Didn't look at me. Didn't ask how my day was. Just beelined for the bedroom like she lived alone and I was the damn landlord. I waited a minute, then walked in and set the iPad on the dresser. Still open, screen glowing. The chat thread was right there. Steve's name, her messages, no mistaking it. I didn't say a word, just stared at her while she peeled off her earrings like nothing was wrong. She glanced down at the screen, rolled her eyes, and let out this exhausted sigh, like I was the one ruining her night. She didn't cry, didn't deny it. No, it's not what it looks like. Just this bored, smug little shrug, and a line I'll never forget. You are never enough, Tony. You've been coasting for years. You're still the same guy I married, and that's the problem. That's when something clicked. Something cold and clear, like flipping a breaker in my own head. I didn't argue. Didn't ask for another chance. I just walked over to the closet, pulled down my old duffel bag, the one I hadn't touched since my last job up in Bakersfield, and started packing. She watched me like I was bluffing. First a smirk, then confusion, then silence. I took my jeans, my work boots, my passport, and the folder with all my important crap. Left the suits she made me buy for events I hated. Left the wedding album. Left the damn smart speaker she loved yelling at. She finally spoke up. "You're really leaving?" "That's it." I zipped the bag. "You said it yourself. I'm not enough, right? So go find someone better." She stood there in that red silk robe, the one I bought her in Cabo, with her arms crossed and her face blank. No apology. No emotion. Just a woman who thought she'd always have the upper hand and was now watching it walk out the door. I didn't slam anything. Didn't yell. I walked past her, out the front door, and got in my truck. Sat there for a minute, engine off, just staring at the steering wheel. My hands were shaking, but my chest felt lighter than it had in years. Not good, not happy, just free. I didn't go to a friend's place, didn't go to a bar. I drove straight to a cheap motel off the freeway. $37 a night, smelled like mildew and cigarettes. I laid on that scratchy bed with the TV on mute and just stared at the ceiling. I wasn't crying. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was empty. And somehow that was better than the slow, daily dying I'd been living in that house. That night, for the first time in a long time, I didn't wonder what she was thinking. I didn't care who she was texting. I didn't dream about fixing it. I just knew I was done. I didn't pick Bangkok for the women. That's what everyone assumes, right? Some sad guy gets cheated on and flies across the world chasing bikinis and cheap beer. But the truth is, I didn't want noise. I didn't want pity. I just wanted to be somewhere I wasn't constantly reminded of what I lost. Or worse, what I tolerated. I remember sitting in that motel with a paper cup of coffee and this horrible pastel bedspread, scrolling YouTube like a zombie. One of those passport bro videos popped up. I almost skipped it, but I let it play. Then another. Then one from a guy about my age sitting in a Bangkok cafe saying, "I didn't come here for love. I came here for peace." That hit me. I wasn't looking to replace my ex. I didn't want another American dating app disaster. I wanted to get out, away from the sarcasm, away from the side eyes and the "you should be more evolved" conversations. I wanted a city where I could blend in, sweat a little, eat street food, and forget what day it was. I booked the ticket on a Tuesday night, half asleep, one way, San Diego to Suvarnabhumi. Didn't even tell anyone except my buddy Rick. He thought I was having a breakdown. "You're flying to Thailand?" "For what?" I just told him. "To breathe." First 2 days were rough. Jet lag, stomach doing backflips, couldn't figure out how to flush the damn toilet in my hotel. My room was on Sukhumvit, down some sketchy alley that looked like the set of a bad action movie. But I'll tell you something, nobody was yelling. Nobody was throwing sarcasm like knives. Nobody made me feel like I was in the way. I wasn't looking for love. I wasn't even looking to feel good. I just wanted silence. And Bangkok, loud, chaotic, buzzing Bangkok, somehow gave me that. It was my 4th night in Bangkok. I was staying in this no-frills serviced apartment near On Nut, concrete floors, flickering hallway lights, an elevator that groaned like it hated its job. The air conditioner rattled non-stop, and the bed felt like a box spring with a bedsheet over it. But I didn't care. I wasn't there for comfort. I just needed to not feel like a failure every time I opened my front door. I hadn't been eating much. Nerves, maybe, or just the kind of hunger that disappears when your life implodes. There was this little food cart at the corner of the street. I'd passed it 3 times and never stopped. Run by a woman, probably mid-30s, wore jeans and a baseball cap. Quiet. She never waved me in, never tried to sell me anything. Just kept flipping noodles and moving like she had a rhythm I couldn't understand. That night I gave in, walked over, pointed at something on the menu, and said the only Thai word I'd picked up so far. Cow pad. Fried rice. She nodded, smiled just a little, and started cooking. I must have looked like hell. I was still in the same t-shirt from the flight, hadn't shaved, eyes red from too many YouTube rabbit holes. I was sweating through my back. Flies buzzed near the trash bin. Neon lights above flickered like they were struggling to stay alive, and I just stood there like a lost dog. She handed me the plate in a plastic bag, then, without saying a word, reached behind the cart and pulled out a cold bottle of water. Just gave it to me. Didn't charge extra. Didn't wink. Didn't smile like she was trying to get something. Just handed it over and said, "You look hot. Drink." That moment cracked something open in me. Not because it was romantic or sweet. It wasn't. It was basic, kind, human. She didn't ask me where I was from. Didn't make jokes about my accent. She just noticed I looked rough and did something small to make it better. I nodded, said thank you. She said, "Okay, Tony." I hadn't told her my name, but it was printed on my keycard lanyard. She must have seen it. That's the kind of detail women like her notice. Small, real things. I went back to my room, ate on the floor, and for the first time in weeks, the food didn't taste like ash. It tasted like something warm, like maybe I was still human. After that night, I started going back to her cart more regularly. Not every day, but enough that she started greeting me with a little nod and a same, before I even opened my mouth. Sometimes she added an egg. Sometimes she didn't charge me for the water. Never made a big deal about it. Never asked why I looked tired or what brought me to Thailand. She just existed beside me, quietly, calmly, like I was allowed to be there. And it hit me one night, sitting on a busted red stool near her cart, eating fried rice out of a plastic container. The energy here was just different. I don't mean the city. Bangkok is loud as hell. Motorbikes weaving through traffic, vendors shouting over each other, TVs blasting soccer matches in every other shop. But under all that noise, there's this strange calm. People don't bark at each other. No one's walking around waiting to be offended. No one looks at you like you're wasting their time just by existing. Back in the States, every conversation with my ex felt like a landmine, like I had to pre-clear every word before it came out of my mouth. I'd ask, "Want to grab dinner?" And she'd say, "Why do I have to decide everything?" I'd ask what I did wrong, and she'd say, "If you don't know, I'm not telling you." But here, I asked the noodle cart lady what her name was, and she said, "May." Simple, no games, no tests, just May. I started noticing it everywhere. The woman at the laundry shop bowed when I said thank you. I should have been bowing to her, but she did it first. The security guard at the condo smiled every morning, even if I looked like I hadn't slept. I wasn't a king. I wasn't even special. But I was a person. And that was new. I'm not saying every Thai woman is perfect. I'm not that naive. But here, respect still means something. There's no eye-rolling sarcasm when you hold the door open. No side-eye if you pay for dinner without having a long conversation about gender roles. No one's trying to out-macho you or test your emotional availability. You show up, you're kind, you're stable. That's enough. It made me realise just how twisted things had gotten back home. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't toxic. I was just living under a system where men like me were disposable. Here, I was just another guy eating rice on a stool, and that felt better than being invisible in my own marriage. It took me a couple months before I even thought about dating. I wasn't ready. I was still sleeping with the lights on and checking my bank balance 3 times a day, like she might somehow still have access. I didn't trust women. I didn't trust myself. And I sure as hell didn't trust whatever leftover instincts got me into that marriage in the first place. But Bangkok has a way of softening your edges. You walk around and people smile at you. Real smiles, not customer service ones. Nobody's trying to fix you or size you up. You just exist. And after a while, I stopped flinching when someone was nice to me. That's when I decided to try dating again. No apps. I was done with that swipe left, swipe right circus. I met Fon through a Thai friend of a friend. She worked in logistics, had her own little condo near Udom Suk, mid-30s, never married, no kids. First time we met, she was early. Sat at the table, hands folded, smiling when I walked in. Didn't pull out her phone once during dinner, asked questions, listened. It threw me off. I kept waiting for the angle, the dig, the joke at my expense, but there wasn't one. We saw each other a few times after that, nothing heavy, just dinner, a walk, talking. I never felt like I was on trial, never had to justify my job, my past, or my masculinity. I told her I used to be an electrician and she said, "Oh, strong job. You build things, that was it." No sarcasm, no, "well, I work in tech." Just respect. Like being useful with your hands actually counted for something. One night she came over with sticky rice and mango. Her mum had made too much. She didn't ask if she could come in. She didn't try to impress me. She just handed me the Tupperware, smiled and said, "You eat. You look tired." And I swear, man, I felt something crack open in my chest. Not love, not lust, just safety. A kind of gentle, I didn't remember how to hold. There was no script, no checklist, no power struggle. Just 2 people sharing food on a shitty old balcony, listening to the hum of traffic and the occasional gecko chirp. That's what dating felt like here. Simple, human. It wasn't about being worshipped. It was about not being mocked. And after everything I'd been through, that alone felt like a miracle. A few months in, I moved to a place near Ekamai. Quieter, better balcony, less foot traffic. Fon helped me pick it out. Said it was more me. People like to say, "You must feel like a king over there." And every time I hear that, I shake my head. Because no, I don't. I don't live in a mansion. I don't have a line of girls waiting to serve me beers in bikinis. I live in a modest 2-bedroom near Ekamai. I take the BTS. I eat street food most nights. My biggest luxury is a decent mattress and an air conditioner that actually works. And that's enough. That's more than enough, because for the first time in years, I'm not walking on eggshells in my own home. I don't have to brace myself when I open the front door. I don't get hit with some passive-aggressive line about emotional labour when I forget to rinse a dish. Fawn greets me with a smile. She makes dinner without announcing it like she deserves a trophy. She says thank you when I fix the leaky tap, not because she's submissive, but because she actually appreciates it. She respects me, not for what I earn, not for how emotionally fluent I am, just for showing up, for being solid, for keeping promises. We've been together close to a year now. No drama, no screaming matches, no silent treatments that last 3 days. We disagree sometimes, sure, about money, about time, about me not liking durian. But it's calm. We talk like adults. Nobody's trying to win. Nobody's keeping score. I told her once, "You make me feel like a man again." She looked at me confused and said, "You a man?" Why not feel like? And just like that, I realised how far I'd come from the guy who had to ask for basic respect back home. I don't feel powerful here, I feel like myself. And that's something I thought I'd lost forever. This isn't some fantasy escape. I still work, I still have bills, I still get food poisoning every now and then from being too adventurous with street meat, but my life is mine again. I'm not a king. I'm just free. And that, to me, is worth more than any castle. If you're hearing all this and thinking, damn, that sounds familiar, then I've got one thing to say to you. You don't have to take it. I'm not telling you to pack a bag and run off to Thailand. I'm not saying find yourself a traditional wife and start over. I'm saying stop letting someone chip away at you every day until there's nothing left but doubt and silence. I used to think being a good man meant taking it, absorbing the blame, being steady. Happy wife, happy life. But that's how they get you. They wear you down one sarcastic comment at a time, one cold shoulder, one withheld compliment, one comparison to someone who does more. And before you know it, you're apologising for existing. You don't need to fly across the world. You just need to walk away from anyone who looks at you like you're the problem for wanting to be treated right. You want peace. It starts with walking out the door and not looking back. For me, that door led to Bangkok. Sticky air, tangled power lines, cold beer, warm smiles. A woman who doesn't think kindness is a weakness. A quiet little life that fits me just right. And I'm not saying it's perfect, nothing is. But I sleep with both eyes closed now. I laugh more. I eat better. I don't check someone else's phone while pretending not to. I'm not in survival mode anymore. So, yeah. If you're on the edge, just know there's life after that kind of hurt. There's you after it. And that version of you? He's still in there. You've just been too polite to let him out. Cheers, brother. Wherever you end up, just make sure it's a place where you can be respected again. And that's Tony's story. It's not a fantasy. It's not some perfect Hollywood ending. It's just one man, burned out and broken, who finally said enough's enough and walked toward a life where he could breathe again. Not every guy who moves to Thailand ends up with a peaceful life and a good woman, but some do. And for men like Tony, it's not about escaping to paradise. It's about finally being treated with basic respect. Maybe you see a little of yourself in his story. Maybe you're still biting your tongue, convincing yourself that being steady is enough. But if Tony's story tells us anything, it's that staying quiet doesn't make you strong. Sometimes walking away does. Thanks for watching Inside Thailand. If you got something out of this story, do us a favour. Hit that like button, subscribe for more, and drop a comment if you've got your own story to tell. We read them all. And wherever you're watching from, we hope you find your peace too. See you in the next one.